Are we ready to roll? Okay, so we can't be in fear because we don't do fear. We are the chosen ones. And if we have fear, we need to face it and we need to process it and get over it. Because if we are in fear, then what are we doing here? We are the chosen ones. We are teaching everyone how to not be in fear. There's nothing good's coming from fear, right?
Okay, but how did you process some of your fears?
How did I process
some of your fears? Because there's no way you can tell me you've gone through life without fears.
Oh yeah, I've had lots of fears. Mostly it was fears of losing someone that's very big in relationships, losing that relationship. And it's more about, what are you afraid of? What do you think you're losing when you're losing that relationship? Are you losing some sort of comfort? Are you losing status? Are you losing, your sex partner? Or you think nobody will ever love you again? That was it for me. I'm like, oh shit, if I lose this person, nobody will ever love me again. That's very scary. But then self-love helps a lot. When you love yourself and you realize everything is love, you're like, okay, I can get through this. And I can more analyze. I can be more outside and say, what do I want? What do I want out of this situation? That's where the fear is coming from, because you want something, or you want something not to be. And then you're like, okay, I'm letting go of that want. I'm just tossing it aside. I'm not wanting it anymore, because I'm a divine being. I don't need anything. I don't need to want anything. I got everything already inside that I need. And then it's easier. Don't give up.
Okay, but I'm a woman, and oh great, so we're just gonna have a lovely conversation. I'm a woman, and I'm thinking to myself, I have to give up sometimes. Sometimes it's difficult to. It's like surrender. Repeat.
Yeah, letting go.
When do I fight? When do I just surrender? I'm like, okay, this is beyond me. And I love what we were talking about yesterday about prayer. And you're like, sometimes there's the bhakti path, and sometimes there's the analytical path. And the analytical path is like, let me think my way out of this problem. And then the bhakti path is like, let me surrender and pray. Where do I go from here?
I was fascinated by the bhakti path because I can't really do it. I couldn't do it before. So after all this happened, then I was in Thailand, and eventually I quit my job, or I was kicked out, either way. And I got fully into spirituality, and I decided cool, I'm gonna take this time now, however long it takes, to really figure this out and to become enlightened. Because I can see that no one is really happy that I see, except these enlightened people like Eckhart Tolle, like these people. They're really happy. Everyone else is not happy. So the only way to be really happy forever is to be enlightened. That was my thinking. It's not necessarily true, but
the analytical way to get to enlightenment is like focus on it and get to enlightenment.
So I did a lot of online courses, meditations, all kinds of things. It's way too much to explain now. But it did eventually, it gave me a lot of insights, awakenings. Like an awakening is when you have a sudden realization. Your life's changing 180 degrees because you realize something wasn't true that you thought was true. For example, like a belief just drops away and you're like, oh, damn.
Okay, but how did you get to the point of just looking outside of yourself and going, no way, I don't like what I see. I got to change, because if I don't change, I'm going to be real miserable like the rest of the folk out here. Okay, nobody just wakes up one morning and says, hey man, seriously, I'm just going to change.
Well, I guess there's two inspirations that made that happen. You're right, actually. You always ask the deep questions. That doesn't just happen, and you're right. So at some point,
but I love you long time. That's why I'm like
I love that. I love those questions. It's great. So long time before that, I read The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, and that book was insane. It was crazy. I was reading it and I was turning the pages, and I was like, I don't know why nobody ever told me about this before. It was about basic things like, you're not your thoughts. you can observe your thoughts, but whoever you are, whatever that is, it's not your thoughts. You have thoughts in your mind, but you can see them, so you're not them. So that gives a lot of freedom all of a sudden. Anyway, I was reading this whole book. It's a great enlightenment teaching, and some people actually just fully wake up from this book. But for me, I fully understood it, and I loved it, and I stood it with my mind. But I also noticed that I'm not living that. I'm not living like that.
You're not embodying the teaching.
Yeah, I'm not embodying it, and there's something missing, but I don't know what it was, because the book didn't talk about that. It just talked about, it was just like, it's so dense in information. It's just like bam, 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 and you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. It opened up a huge amount. It planted a lot of seeds. I would say every page planted like seeds. So it was like, oh my God. So that was one real inspiration. And then finally, I used to love to go to Burning Man. It's a big festival in the desert in Nevada every year, and all the people from San Francisco, all the engineers go there, and a lot of other people also, like a lot of artists and all this kind of stuff. So I would go there in 2010, all by myself, all of a sudden, coming from Thailand, like flying into San Francisco, going to Burning Man. Like, I don't care, this is very expensive, all these airplane tickets and all this stuff. But I just wanted to go, Seemed like a lot of effort to spend a week in the desert. And that was cool. And then it came back in 2011, and then I came back a total of like 8 times, actually. And during that time, we started this camp out of 10 people that randomly showed up. And at the end, it was like 400 people. So the camp every year got bigger and bigger and had more and more stuff and more offerings, because Burning Man is all about offering. So there's no money at Burning Man. So it's an inspiration for my future society. And everyone's working really hard at Burning Man to provide for others.
Yes.
So that's the only thing you do there. You just go there, you build an amazing camp. You have stuff that you give away. We had a beer bar where we just give beer to people. And we had this amazing craft beer that people made in our camp. They made their own beer, so they brought it there. And people were super happy about it. So you provide things. And it's just amazing. Everyone is so happy there just because of that. Like, the first thing is there's no money. That makes everyone happy already, because it doesn't matter you're a billionaire or you're a beggar. When you're Burning Man, you're the same person. Your currency is basically how cool you are. Like, that's your currency.
Your currency is your energy, how cool you are. Not how much money you got.
Yeah, there's nothing to buy there. So if you have a lot of money, there's nothing you can buy. So it doesn't matter. I think that's also why the rich people like it. Because
you can't.
They get relaxed, right?
For the first time.
Like,
oh my God, I can be myself. Like, what the hell? Authenticity. I can just be myself without anybody wanting something from me.
Yeah, it helps them a lot. Yeah, I think so. That's why all of them like it, yeah. And the famous people, they can just run around in outfits that nobody recognizes them, so they can be normal people too, and everything like that. So it was great. But I had in 2011 a real kind of awakening experience there, where I was like, I don't know how that happened, but I sort of got into this trance-like state where I saw the whole universe in front of me, just putting things in front of me, one after the other, like a giant clockwork. Like, this happens, this happens, this happens. And every time something happened, or I met someone that I've never met before, and they would say something to me, and I would give them this amazing response that I didn't know where it was coming from. It's like, how am I so smart? Wait, that wasn't even me. It was just coming through me. I'm just telling somebody like amazing things, and they're like, wow. And I'm amazed too. I'm like, oh, okay. So it was this perfect flow experience, right? And I noticed a lot of things about that too, because I noticed all my addictions that I'm normally addicted to, I wasn't addicted to at all. Actually, every time I was at Burning Man, it was like that.
Why?
Because I am very happy at Burning Man. I was very happy there. And so all the things that I do to make myself happy are just gone. Like, I'm really like,
You gotta find your happy. Like, you gotta find your joy. Find your joy. All of your addictions will run.
So that was the normal Burning Man experience. And then in 2011, I had an awakening there I just said that. And then 2013, I had another amazing awakening experience at Burning Man. So that was before I started my spiritual path. And I thought I could just keep doing that. I have these experiences, and maybe I don't need to be that serious. But the second awakening was even crazier. It was just completely nuts. And we'll talk about that some other time. And then in 2015, 2 years after that, I decided to put all my efforts on that spiritual path. So that was after Eckhart Tolle, after the first awakening, after the second awakening, I'm like, okay, gonna just
Now I'm
do it now. Also, I did a lot of breath work there. At the last 2015, it was the last Burning Man I went to, and I learned breath work from a guy there that was teaching it. They had a course every morning. I did holotropic breath work there, and it's sort of like a window into the possibilities of the universe. Like I learned a lot of things about, like it's the similar things that people have experiences in plant medicines, which I
Right.
never did. I never did any of those things, but it's sort of like showing you that you suddenly realize, oh, I'm actually the entire universe. You know, it sounds kind of weird to say that, but when you're in the breathwork state, you know
Okay,
it.
okay.
You know it.
Listen, I'm an African. Hold on. Can you do breath work while having sex? I think that
so-
would be an epic experience.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Probably. I don't think you could do it because you're actually really just checking out at some point.
No, but like you
But
breathe
maybe-
heavy during sex.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you can actually channel that
No,
energy.
that's one of the reasons sex is good, because you start breathing a lot, which you don't normally do.
Yeah, but like if you can actually practice
Yeah.
conscious breath work, wow.
Yeah,
Wow. Like, wow.
that would be very interesting. I'm pretty sure.
Just wow. That's all I can say. Just wow. You don't even
You
need to
create
take,
that course. I think that's
I don't even
that's
think
good.
you need to take ayahuasca at that point.
no.
Because the energy of sex and creation is so powerful, along with the breath work. What could you create? Choruses of epic love. I think that's why people do tantra. And
Maybe.
but I don't think they do it properly, because you have to like be in sync with your breath and with the partner that you're doing tantra with, because it wouldn't work.
I don't know about that. I've never done tantra. I've only had like regular sexual experiences.
Yeah, and I haven't done tantra too. I don't like this. Get out of my boobs. Get off my boobs and out my vagina. No. No,
So I was always put off. Like even at Burning Man, there's an orgy dome
yeah.
where there's all these people doing orgies 24/7. And I was invited to that orgy dome many times by different people I met. And they were always, like the energy was always like, I was like, no, no thanks. So I'm gonna meet people like you? No. No thanks. It's not interested.
Picky, aren't you?
Of course.
You said that about me yesterday. You're like, oh, she's picky about who she gives her hugs to.
Yeah, no, well, a little bit picky about who I exchange body fluids with.
You got to be picky about these things. Like, this is energy. It's energy
very important.
transference. And people are just having sex with random people. Oh my God, you have no idea what you're picking up.
Yeah, I learned that a lot later, but you're right about that. Yeah. So you gotta be careful. I don't know where we were now.
Cho.
Sure.
I have learned a lot. Cho. What would we say in Austria?
I don't know what it even means. What does it mean, Cho?
It just means like, oh my. Oh my God. You know, in America we say, oh my God.
Das ist der Wahnsinn.
What is it?
Das ist der Wahnsinn. This is crazy. Das ist der Wahnsinn.
Das ist der Wahnsinn.
But it's a positive thing, yeah. Yeah, Wahnsinn.
Oh my God. Cho. I love that he even talks about fear and how he's conquered his fear. No. Yesterday you said looking for love in the wrong places. That was the most profound thing. I even wrote it down in my diary.
I was looking for love in all the wrong places. I think a lot of people do it.
And then that's why we have our fears of losing these people, but they weren't right to begin with.
Wasn't right.
You're afraid of losing something that wasn't even right. Get out of your house and start living your life, okay?
Start living your life.
Just live your life.
Just live your life.
Just live your life.
I love that. Just
Get out of your house and just start living your life. Joe visionary. Joe. Yo. I'm so thankful for my friends, and I'm so thankful that I pray. You know, honestly, I'm so thankful that my parents taught me how to pray. I'm so thankful that my grandmothers knew how to pray with the elements. I'm meeting so many amazing people in this world, so many amazing people who are just sharing their own wisdom, so that we can all have an independent thought, just an independent thought. And the subject of sex, I really want to talk about the subject of sex, because the subject of sex is so powerful in people's psyche. There is so much trauma around sex, so much trauma. From religion says, oh, if you have sex before marriage, you are a sinner. From society that shames women who have children outside of being married, or who shame women for their sexuality, or to government that is preventing women from embodying their own body and being sovereign in their own body. There's so much going on around the subject of sex. There's so much shame. Most people have so much shame around sex because of religious programming, because of government programming, because of societal programming. And I find that, yes, sometimes I can be very in your face and very forceful and hard and strict and like, I'm your big sister. Even if I'm, you're older than me. You're my big brother and I'm your big sister, and you're my big sister and I'm your, big sister. But I find that the media too portrays this idea that sexuality can be cheap, that sexuality can be a commodity that we can use to manipulate and blackmail each other, use to make money. Yes, the oldest profession is prostitution. This is the oldest profession. And we can't really knock people who are in that profession because they're providing a service. They are loving men who are in sexless marriages. But, I think that the women that are providing these services are abused. The women that are providing these services are disrespected. They are treated so poorly. And they look down upon. But yet the same men that go to these women have mother wounds. That's why they go to sleep with women of the night, ladies of the night. And then the women have so much shame. And there's a lot of sexual manipulation in these situations. I used to volunteer for an organization called Stop Child Trafficking in America. Most of it was rescuing young girls and young boys who were sexually, who were part of the human trafficking ring and sexually molested. Most of these young women and young men were so traumatized. Every time I would try to talk to them, they would just be so traumatized. I was like, what are we doing to each other as a society if we're traumatizing each other so much? And I really think that some of the people that do the most cruelest things to other people are traumatized human beings. They are traumatized. We need to stop stigmatizing sexuality, stop stigmatizing people who are sick, men who are sick, who are raping children. We need to stop stigmatizing them and say, hey, bro, you need some help. Let's work on this. Putting people in prison, okay, yes, it's needed for rehabilitation. But if there's no rehabilitation, these men come out of prison and they still rapists and they still pedophiles and they still have dirty minds. Because the pain, the true trauma starts in embracing our sacred sexuality, knowing that sexuality is sacred. It is not to be sold. It is not to be misused and abused. That's why so many people have so much shame around their sexuality. But also, it starts with the mother never loved me wound and the daddy never loved me wound. So as women, when we have a very strong pain, very strong inner childhood wounding or trauma around daddy never loving me, daddy never validating me, daddy never seeing me, we're always out in the streets looking for that father figure, that never loved you in childhood, that never took care of you in childhood, that never told you that you are an amazing young woman and you're going to go far. So then as women, we go out and find these men who promise us that they're going to be our prince and knight and in shining armor. And then it turns out into a nightmare. Then we're left with children we cannot take care of. Then we are spinning out of control in our minds. Women are suicidal because of the fact that the fathers were never there in childhood. The fathers were all traumatized themselves, dealing with their own traumas. They couldn't be present fathers, emotionally present fathers. So the young girls are suffering. The young boys are suffering. The young boys are suffering from mothers who are working 2 jobs to support the children, so they didn't have time to love their children and teach them morals, integrity, all of this stuff. Because the mothers are working. We can't knock mothers who are working to feed their children. So we have a lot of young children that have no integrity, that use sexuality as just cheapness, that they can just sell and exchange their bodies to how many men, how many women, and it's okay. This is okay. This is not okay. These young children are traumatized. Old men are traumatized. Old women are traumatized. Millennials are traumatized. Gen X's are traumatized. So much rape in the world. So much annihilation consciousness. We just want to kill each other, rape each other, have sex with each other, have orgies with each other. What are we learning from this? I am an advocate for therapy. And if you don't have money for therapy because you've just got so much trauma and you can't think, trauma makes it hard to think. Honestly, trauma makes it very hard to have a proper thought, because your brain and your body is just on survival mode, because trauma just keeps telling you these horrible things that can happen to you and that will happen to you because you were traumatized in childhood. If you don't actually deal with that, it's very easy to make really harmful decisions where you get yourself involved. I got myself involved in a relationship after leaving home with a guy who raped me and tried to kill me. That's how trauma works. Because I was looking for a dad, because my dad was so traumatized in the mind and so abusive from trauma that he experienced in childhood and growing up in civil war. He couldn't be a dad that was always loving. So my traumatized brain was I just need a man who's going to protect me and who's going to love me and who's going to provide for me. And I went straight to a psychopath who tried to kill me and rape me. This is how trauma works. That's why I talk about these things, because so many people keep re-traumatizing themselves. After that relationship, I got myself into another relationship. I said, oh my God, no, I don't want to deal with traumatized people who want to kill you and stuff like this. But then I got myself into a relationship with a guy in the mafia. Tell me how much trauma that is. How do you even trust somebody who is doing shady stuff at night? How do you trust that? So we must heal our mother wounds. Men with mother wounds are always attracting women who are malicious, devilish, gossiping. They will poison you with their negativity. Women are so abusive. But yet we are always trying to have sex with each other. How about we heal our own wounds? Look at your daddy wounds and say, yeah, my dad was never there for me. I have this urge and this need to be loved. I want to be seen. I want to be validated. I want somebody to care about me. It's okay to actually look at your wounds and say this. It's very okay. It's actually strong. Most people just want to drink and just want to take pills and numb out. But you are a visionary. You are not watching this because you're some sheep. You are a visionary. And you're you know what? I need to take responsibility for healing the pain in my heart. Nobody's going to do it for me because they're not feeling my pain. I am the only one at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning crying, and I'm in pain. So I'm going to sit down with myself and say, okay, yes, I would have loved to have a dad who was there for me, who loved me, who validated me, but this is not what I got. He wasn't like this. Am I going to hate him forever? Am I going to keep punishing him forever? Because in the process of hating him, I am hurting myself. You know what I mean? My mother was drunk. My mother used to be on pills. My mother never loved me, that stupid bitch. I mean, how do you call your mother these sorts of names? Okay, maybe your mother wasn't there. Maybe she wasn't present. Maybe she was dealing with her own depression. Maybe she was dealing with her own trauma. We have no idea what the traumas our parents have dealt with. We have no idea. Even baby boomers. I've seen baby boomers cry about their mothers. I'm like, but you're 65 years old. Like, you're 70 years old. What do you mean your daddy never loved me? And you're out looking for a spiritual husband and a daddy to love you in some church. As a 65-year-old, 70-year-old woman or man, shouldn't you be the elder where we as millennials are coming to ask for guidance because you've done your own spiritual work? But many people haven't done this work. And it's not their fault. Really, it's not our fault. But it is our responsibility to heal ourselves. Because when we don't heal ourselves, we pass on these pains and these wounds to our children and their children's children and our children's 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 children. In psychology, it's called intergenerational trauma. It means the pain your mother experienced, your grandmother experienced, your grandfather, your great-grandfather, your great-great-great-great-grandfather. If that pain was not healed, it just keeps on going down to the next generation and the next generation and the next generation and the next generation. And we keep having children. How are we having children when we haven't healed our own hearts from our own pain from childhood? What are we passing on to the new generation, our children? The pain that we experience from our parents? This is irresponsible. This is truly irresponsible. When I look at children, I see the hope in their eyes. When I look at children, I see God in them going, oh my goodness, this life experience is going to be good. When I look at the parents and what the parents are doing, fighting each other in these homes, trying to kill each other, the parents are out of control emotionally, manipulative, lying, having random mindless sex with strangers in bars. I'm like, but what are your children learning from this? And these are the same people that will tell you that they love their children. I love my children. Your children are looking at your behavior. My dad is never home. He's always out with women. How can my dad love me? He doesn't help me with my homework. He just gives me money. But he doesn't talk to me about things guys should be doing. He's always out with a new woman. Young girls, what do they see when you as a man are always having new younger women? These young girls grow up believing that, oh, women are just worthless things that, you can change all the time. So that's when young girls then trap men with babies and trap men with all sorts of these things. These are the problems. I'm not blaming the dads. We can't blame the dads because the dads are sick themselves. They have a lot of trauma. We can't blame the moms. The moms are dealing with their own traumas. We can't blame the millennials, the young people like me in my 40s. We can't blame the 50-year-olds, the 60-year-olds, the 70-year-olds, the 80-year-olds, the 90-year-olds, because then we will never heal. We will always be crazy because we're always blaming each other. If you didn't rape me, if you didn't do this to me, if you didn't do this, I would not be so fucked up. But do you want to change, or do you want to keep living in sad stories? Yes, bad shit happens to everybody. Honestly, bad shit happens to everybody. But there comes a time where you have to say, okay, I I've had all these things happen to me. And because I've had so much trauma and I didn't know that I had a lot of trauma, I made some crazy bad decisions. I take responsibility. I take responsibility right now in this moment. I made these crazy decisions. I got myself into relationships where it was okay for a man to rape and beat me. It was okay for me to like date a mafia boss, which was like, what the fuck? I made the decisions because I was traumatized. Okay, great. Now I'm going to work on my trauma because I can't keep making bad decisions like this. With the relationships, with lovers, with husbands, I cannot do this to myself anymore. With women, men are in the same situation. We always think men are trash, men are strong. They are always abusing the woman. This is not true. There's a lot of good men out here in the world. They are being terrorized by crazy, trashy women who won't heal their daddy never loved me wounds. So they take out all of their ugliness toward that they should, be forgiving their fathers on men who are just innocent, who've done nothing to them. And we are all having sex with each other during this time with hatred in our souls. What kind of children are we bringing into the world when we're raping each other and hating each other and all sorts of this? These children are traumatized watching the adults behave like this, orgies. Okay, I'm not anybody to judge. You go do your orgies, but take care of your children before you go and do your orgies. You know what I mean? Integrity. But it starts with self-love. Okay, so maybe you've had some bad stuff happen in your life and you've made some bad decisions. Okay, you can forgive yourself. Just start with self-forgiveness, and say, put your hands on your heart and say, oh my goodness, I messed up real good. I have made so many mistakes. I have a PhD in making mistakes in life. But now I want to start loving myself. I want to make good decisions for myself so that I'm no longer in this pain. I'm enough is enough with this pain. Enough is enough. When you can start saying that to yourself, just put your hands on your heart and don't be hard on yourself. Have compassion for yourself. Compassion for yourself is, I didn't know that my trauma was making me make such bad decisions. I didn't know. Oh my God, if I knew, I wouldn't have never made these decisions. Okay, I forgive myself. I forgive myself for my ignorance. I forgive myself for all of the bad mistakes that I've made. I forgive myself. I'm willing to learn from everything that life has taught me through all of the good decisions and the bad decisions. I forgive myself. I honestly just forgive myself. If you can do this for 90 days, just wake up every day, 5 minutes, and I just forgive myself. Oh my God, I just forgive myself. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. Just for 5-10 minutes a day before you get out of bed. Your life will change. Because self-compassion is self-acceptance. Nobody has a perfect journey. We all look at these people, presidents, we all look at beauty queens, rich people, or, they have a perfect life. This is how the jealousy starts. As women, let me speak from the woman's perspective. Oh, you're looking at a celebrity. Ooh, wow, look at their house, look at their husband. They drive a nice car. It looks like they have a good life. You don't know. Maybe they're beating that woman up in that house. But then, when she has to go to TV, she puts makeup on and she looks very stunning. But you don't know that they're beating her. Or maybe they're not physically beating her, but at night, they are telling her that she's rubbish and she's stupid and they are verbally abusing her at night. You don't know. So we must stop being jealous of each other because you don't know what hell somebody else is living. Focus on your own life. Meaning, I'm just willing to heal my own pain. I'm willing to just heal my own pain. I will stop running around, if you're a single woman looking for a man who's going to play the daddy role. I'm just going to start hugging trees. People think I'm crazy when I hug trees. They think, what the fuck is she doing? But when I was at my lowest point after getting out of the relationship with the mafia guy, I was broke. I was hella broke, okay? This guy kicked me out of his beautiful house with trash bags. My clothes were all in trash bags, black plastic bags, and he shoved me out his house. He's like, get the fuck out of my house. I said, okay, now I'm broke. I have no money. I cannot go back home. My parents are going to be like, yeah, we told you about these things of yours. I am ashamed. I have nothing. I don't know what to do. Thank goodness I had a friend who allowed me to stay at her house for a week until I could get a job. But at that day was the day where I said, never again. I won't. I will not. I will respect myself. I don't care if a man says to me, they will look after me. They will give me the sun, moon, and private jets to Italy to go buy clothes. I don't give a shit about this. I am going to work. I'm going to learn to respect myself. I'm going to learn to close my legs. I don't care that this man can marry me and give me a big diamond ring. I will close my legs. And I am just going to go to the trees and I am going to ask the trees for wisdom. And when I need a hug, I am going to go hug a tree. I did this for a long time until my self-esteem started rising. Once my self-esteem started rising, then I met my husband. Before then, I could have never met a man like this because I had such low self-esteem. I would have tried to trick him or do very strange things and he would have just walked away like, oh, crazy woman. Don't be jealous of people's marriages. Love yourself. You will find somebody who loves themselves and then you can create love. One person who hates themselves and another person who loves themselves cannot match. There's no match here. It must be two people either who hate themselves and then they have to abuse each other. Or it's two people who love each other and will stay together and create more love. Or one person who hates themselves and one person who loves themselves, and it can never work in the relationship. It will never work. The first way I learned how to love myself was just to go hug a tree. Every time I hug a tree, I still hug trees right now. I still kiss trees right now. Because every time I hug a tree, I know that I'm safe. I'm like, oh my God, I just need a hug. I just need somebody to just like hug me. I don't go around hugging men. Okay, well, my friends. But I don't go around hugging people or telling people my problems. But nobody cares. People have their own problems. Why is it other people's responsibility to solve your problems? You created the problems with your own thinking. It's not anybody's job to save you or to help you with your problems. Not even God can do this for you. So I realized this, that I was alone. And I said, okay, great. I am alone. But I have trees. All right. I have Mother Earth. Right on. Let me go hug a tree and start telling the tree my troubles. So I started telling the tree my troubles. Oh, tree, I have so much shame. I got into this bad relationship. I thought I was going to live happily ever after with a big diamond ring. Now my problems have started. I am alone. I have no money. Oh, tree, help me, tree. Oh, yes. I was talking to the spirit of the wind. I was talking to Mother Earth because I had nothing else to pray to, because I thought that God was so ashamed of me because, I don't know, because I was a loser and, you know, I had sex before marriage. So there's a lot of these things that we're holding on to as human beings that make us loop, have a time loop in madness, in sadness, in envy, in hatred for other people. But it's because you don't love yourself. If you can just start loving yourself and just every day go tell a tree your troubles. Every morning, when you get up in the morning, before you get out of bed, oh, I forgive myself. Oh, I forgive myself. If your name is Tembi, if your name is Linda, oh, I forgive. It would even be better if you did it in the bathroom, facing a mirror. Before you take a shower, I forgive myself. I forgive myself. Oh my God, I forgive myself. I forgive myself. The more you forgive yourself, the more you have mercy towards yourself. The more you have compassion towards yourself. Nobody can abuse you then. Yes? And when you have compassion towards yourself, you won't allow somebody else who doesn't have compassion for themselves and is abusive and verbally abusive and all sorts of these abuses to abuse you, because you know that you don't talk to yourself like that. If you start talking kindly to yourself, loving to yourself, even the voices from childhood that were very painful will start being quiet. They'll just drown away. You are important. You matter. Your life matters. Your penis and your vagina should stick to you and stop sharing your energy with other people. Not because I want to be a sex police. There's great joy in sex. But this energy of sex is hurting people with their tantras, mother never loved me wounds, if it's not done right, if it's not holy, if it's not in sacred space. But even these tantras are dangerous for people who don't know what's going on. Love yourself. Honor your body. Respect your body. Don't allow people to put their penises and their vaginas in your body, exchanging bodily fluids. You don't know these people. You don't know what demons they are channeling. Honor yourself. Love yourself. And forgive yourself for all of the times you feel shame around your sexuality. I forgive myself. Oh my God, I forgive myself. I didn't know. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. Self-forgiveness is self-love. Self-forgiveness is self-acceptance. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. I am holy. I am innocent. My inner child is innocent. I forgive myself. Start there with self-forgiveness. And it doesn't matter what anybody has ever said to you. If you were sexually assaulted in childhood, you were raped, forgive yourself. It wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault. Forgive yourself. And then once you have enough self-forgiveness and you start having enough self-love, forgive the ignorant people who rape children. Just forgive them. They are in so much hell. You have no idea. So you don't want to go and stick around in that hell with them. Your self-forgiveness allows you to free yourself from being tied up to demonic energies. It's very difficult. It is a journey that is hellish to forgive people who go around raping other people, who hurt other people. It's a hellish journey. I've lived it. But if I hadn't lived it, I wouldn't be here today. I would still probably be in abusive relationships with, insane people who are sick. But self-forgiveness allowed me to say, oh, I forgive myself for all of the sexual choices I made, all of the people that I decided to date who were not good for me, all of my daddy never loved me wounds, which drove me to these insane people who were sick themselves because I was sick myself. Oh my God, I forgive myself. I am the first person that is going to give myself the gift of forgiveness. I don't want anybody to forgive me. I don't owe anybody anything. I owe myself the gift of forgiveness. When you can start here, borderline personality disorder will go away. All these strange narcissism, borderline, these sociopathies, these depressions, these anxieties, these things will go away. They will go away. For the longest time, I had anxiety. And every time I would have anxiety, I would just forgive myself. I forgive myself for feeling so anxious and out of control. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. I no longer have anxiety and all of these things. When I have anxiety and I know what to do now, I forgive myself. So self-forgiveness is very powerful because nobody will forgive you when you hate yourself. Nobody can love you when you hate yourself. Nobody can give you anything when you hate yourself. You must start loving you before anybody can ever love you. This is a law of the universe. Yes? I hope that the sharing has helped you. Don't judge yourself with your sexuality. It's your sexuality is sacred. Your sexuality is God. I've created a meditation below here that can just help you get your creativity back, your energy of sexuality back into your sovereignty so that you can use this energy of sexuality as actually energy of creation to actually create a new life. A life where you honor yourself and your body and your choices and you are proud of yourself every single night. You don't have shame. Oh my God, what did I do? Who did I sleep with? No, you wake up every morning with self-respect. Yeah? Okay. I got you, boo. Like, no shaming around these things. The people who want to shame us, okay, those people don't belong in our world. We want to heal. Because as we heal, we are the light in the world. Yeah? Okay, let's do this. Please go ahead and practice the Live Your Life meditation. It's really groundbreaking. It's one of the most powerful meditations because love is power. Self-love is power. Okay? I love you. I love you. I love you. Whatever has brought us together is for a higher and nobler cause. I appreciate you, and I thank the universe for having you in my life and me in your life today. Make it a great day. Bye.